Mad Sports Radio, The Gang Green Report with Mike Damergis and Rob Carpenter.
Mike Damergis along with Rob Carpenter for the Gang Green Report. And Rob, it's finally happened. Sam Darnold was traded. My prayers have been answered, but this isn't a surprise to you at all.
No, it's not. I think when you listen to Joe D's his press conference at the end of the season, and when he didn't commit to Sam as being the starter coming up to this upcoming season, you knew the writing was basically on the wall right at that point. They had hired Saleh, and I think they were just looking to go into a different direction right from that point. But I think it's a good thing for Sam, him being traded to Carolina. They have a better situation for him, so hopefully he can come out of this playing much better than he did here in New York.
What is it about the Jets that they keep missing on quarterbacks? You look at the last three: Darnold, Geno Smith, Mark Sanchez, and in your day, Browning Nagel. Why is this franchise so inaccurate when it comes to judging quarterbacks? I
think they've always taken a shot at maybe this is the guy instead of just going with what they see, right there on film. With Geno, he was touted as the Heisman guy, but you saw how he made a lot of mistakes and he couldn't win certain big games. Mark, everyone knew that they made a mistake going up to get Mark at that point. Even Pete Carroll, his own college coach, said at that point in time it was a stretch for him to go that high. Basically the same thing with Sam. He traded up to go get him, but the film doesn't lie, and you see certain things on film that it was just a stretch for these guys to be taken where they were taken for the Jets, instead of just going with certain things where you see guys actually win games. They don't make a lot of mistakes in certain pressure situations, because playing here in New York is pressure. It's huge pressure being here in New York, and that should come into play when you're doing the evaluation.
A quarterback has to be a leader, so just not the numbers, the big arm, but you need to be a leader in that huddle. Did you see that from Sam Darnold in his 3 years as a Jets quarterback?
I did. I think the guys took to him. He's a quiet guy. He's a quiet leader. Not everybody's going to be the big rah guy. It's just that if you do the work or try to put in the work on the field, and the guys see that and they see that you're actually trying to get better, guys will rally around you. It's just that Sam is not that big, vocal guy. So, but the guys respected him. I did see that part.
If you were going to break down Sam Darnold as he's going to Carolina, list me a couple of strengths and his weaknesses, which seem to be as high as a New York City dump.
Well, he's a great athlete. That's one of his biggest strengths.
We saw glimpses of that. We didn't see much of that, and Gase or Bowles really didn't utilize his athleticism.
Right. You can see he can move, he can run, he can extend plays quite a bit when he has the chance. He has a big arm. He didn't use it all the time. I think that was evident last season in a couple of games where you compare him with Joe Flacco, and Joe Flacco was actually throwing the ball down the field. It seems like Sam was a little gun shy, even though he does have a big arm. He can put the ball down the field. He just didn't take those shots. Some of the weaknesses that he has moving forward, and I think Brady and Rule can probably try to correct this, but his decision making in some pressure situations weren't, it wasn't great. The turnovers.
Can you remedy that though? The decision making, you have the pressures on. Is that something that could be remedied?
With some guys, I believe so. Some guys will just revert back to what they do instinctually, and at certain times, Sam actually just locked on to certain guys and didn't make the right decision. He didn't go through the progression of the play. He just made the decision when he came to line of scrimmage and just said, all right, I'm going to this guy. I think I have the matchup, and he just, let it go. And it always wasn't the greatest thing. Certain coaches can actually, remedy that with certain guys and put it in their head, over and over and over again, go through the progression and make the right decision for what the defense is actually giving. So I think Brady and Rule can probably do that, but he has some better weapons around there in Carolina as well. So hopefully he gets right and he can go on and have a decent career.
Well, we saw Todd Bowles win a Super Bowl with Tampa Bay. It would have been nice to see that his schemes work out better here for the Jets. It seemed like in the second half, nothing ever worked out. Then we had Adam Gase coming here, was supposed to be the offensive guru, and we saw a lot of not so guru-ish stuff was just a big mess, no leadership. What do you think of Salah? Your early signs? What are some of the former teammates you're saying right now? What do they think of this new guy in town?
I think everybody finally thinks that the correct choice was made. If you talk to me talking to my former teammates and looking around the league at what everyone has to say about Salah, he's the guy to actually be a good leader. He's the guy that should be able to get the program changed, get the culture changed in the locker room. You see nothing but good things said about him from the signings that they have already, from the guys who are actually already on the team. So that's a positive already. You don't see any of the ifs, ands, or maybes. Speaking of Salah, and he's widely praised around the league from other coaches. So you like to see that coming into a new situation. He's going to have his chance to put a whole new stamp on this team and hopefully get things turned around, along with Joe Douglas, because these guys are tied at the hip, for the next few years. I think as they go together, they're basically coming in together, and if it works out, they'll be here for a while together. And if it doesn't work out, I think they'll be gone together. But hopefully things get turned around real quick.
Well, the green tea leaves have Zach Wilson as a Jets quarterback. They're going to take him at number 2. And going back to the 90s again with Brownie Nagel, a young quarterback coming into the league. What are some of the biggest things that a young quarterback like a Zach Wilson will struggle with early on? Certainly the game speed, and the defenses are more diverse right off the top.
That's the biggest thing going to be for him. While he was at BYU, he didn't really have a whole lot of pressure on. The competition wasn't super. You can see his talent. His talent is there. It's just going to be the fact that can he make decisions really quick in this league? And the one thing about the offense that will be run, the Shanahan offense, is based on quick decision making. There's play action, but it's a yards after catch for receivers type of offense. And don't get me wrong, when you see him throw the ball, you can see that he has a quick release. I said right after his pro day that it's not a great or super comparison that I'm actually making, but his release reminds me of Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers, I think, probably has the quickest release ever of quarterbacks in the NFL. And Zach Wilson's release and his target actually reminds me of Aaron Rodgers. But if he can process things pretty fast, along with the speed that the NFL game is played at, he could pretty have a long, good career here in New York. He's just going to have to deal with the pressure. The pressure of New York is tremendous. And I don't think guys actually get a full feel of it until you're actually in the heat at the moment.
The Jets have been a quarterback wasteland, the Jersey Meadowlands, of course, the dump. I mean, I don't know what other way to say it. I mean, it is unfair and unjust that the Green Bay Packers for almost 30 years went from Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers. And look what we've had. People don't understand the suffering that goes on, and season tickets for decades people have had, and not just the losing, but the way they're losing and the arrogance of Chris Johnson. I don't want to hear from him anymore. Please, you have zero credibility talking about Adam Gase as being this genius. To suffer through this guy for 2 years and to suffer with Todd Bowles. Todd Bowles should have cut 2 years before he was fired, and they went a year too long with Gase here. So Jet fans are eager for something. I think they could surround Salah. He's certainly a credible guy. One of the big signings. I mean, I think they just got a coup in Salah, and they really haven't had a head coach like this since Parcells left. If I'm not mistaken, I mean, I think Herm Edwards is a decent coach, but a young coach like this, could bring them just his energy and his knowledge could win games for him.
I think Mangini was in there as well. Guys actually like Mangini, and you see the picks that actually Mangini made. He had some great picks for the team. Guys actually played long careers, long good careers for the guys that he actually had picked. But he gets lost in the shuffle a little bit. But Parcells, obviously, one of the top coaches the Jets have had over the last few years, last 20 years or so. Herm Edwards is in there because he changed the culture. He made it about the team and actually doing things right. And guys actually, looked up to that. Just hoping that Salah is that guy that actually can perform that way, and guys look to, and hopefully, the next few years, because the Jets have a lot of capital to build this team around the next 2 years. Got over 20 picks in the next 2 drafts, a lot of cap space. And, hopefully they can get guys that actually want to come here to play along with the young guys that are going to be on this team.
Well, hopefully it's not junk bonds. You know what I'm saying? That would play
Yeah, exactly.
capital. Yeah, Mancini's interesting because I never understood why he went to Cleveland, and I thought the Jets might go back to him. Maybe he kind of learned his mistakes early on. Mancini's a strange one. Why he didn't get a chance. Another guy who's way past his prime now is Brian Billick. Those guys never got a second chance, or third, or third chance, I should say.
It's weird that it's brought up that way, and nobody knows the answer. I don't know the answer why
Are there secret pictures somewhere that nobody knows about? Is there like a Kim Kardashian video?
I mean, we have these conversations all the time. It's like, okay, Mancini should have got another shot, but you just wonder, is there something behind the scenes? I mean, the whole, if you want to call it a snitching incident with him and Belichick. But after all of that, you would think that a guy would actually be able to get back in, but you never know. There may be something else out there that we don't know, and just no one's actually just willing to give him another chance after Cleveland.
All right, he's Rob Carpenter again with the Gang Green Report. We'll be coming to you throughout the year as Jets news breaks and during the season, weekend recaps and so forth. So, Rob, thank you so much for joining us on the Gang Green Report today, talking about Sam Darnold.
No problem, Mike. See you soon.
This has been a production of the Sports Communication and Media Graduate Program at Iona College.